People are even saying that I probably killed Marcus in the hospital because I was having an affair, blah, 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 and Rodney Howard-Browne got you and Jimmy mixed up. He told Jimmy that Doug was texting or emailing me. He never slept with me. He is a good person. We didn't have sex until we got married. He texted me in January after Marcus had died in November. It's not true at all. Even though Joanie knows the truth, the lie stuck around because Rodney told other people, who then told even more people, "These are the bad things you've done to me and to a good man who is known for being honest." Hey everyone, glad you came back to our station. Our topic today is the marriage of co-founder of Daystar television network Joanie Lamb to sex therapist Doug Weiss. This is one of the most talked about stories in the world of Christian media. When they told everyone they were dating, it shocked the Christian community and led to arguments, debates, and even public scoldings from well-known preachers. What did really happen? What does it mean for Daystar going forward? Why did some well-known megachurch pastors fight against their union? Stay tuned, because we're going to break it all down. Let's begin with the timetable. In late 2021, Joanie Lamb lost her husband Marcus Lamb in a terrible accident. You may already know that Marcus was a well-known person in Christian media and helped to start Daystar TV. He died and left a hole in Jan's life, and in the Daystar group as a whole. In 2023, Joanie told everyone that she was dating Doug Weiss, a famous Christian sex therapist and author. But here's the catch. Doug and Lisa Weiss, his wife of more than 30 years, just got a divorce. Only 5 months after Marcus's death, they got a divorce. This made people look twice. Some people were very critical, including Joanie's own children, Jonathan, Rachel, and Susie. They thought Doug didn't have a good reason to end his marriage and that he might be taking advantage of Joanie while she was still sad. But Joanie's family wasn't the only ones who had questions. A number of well-known megachurch leaders also spoke out, though not all of them did so in public. One important person was leader Robert Morris, who was the senior leader of Gateway Church and is now shamed. Robert allegedly agreed with Jonathan and Susie, Joanie's children, that this relationship wasn't a good idea. Robert didn't say anything in public, though, because his church shows were on Daystar. It was clear that he was in a tough spot, trying to balance his beliefs with the public profile of his church. But one pastor wasn't afraid to say what he thought. Rodney Howard-Browne, a famous revivalist preacher, spoke out against the marriage. Rodney told Joanie that what she was going to do could bring down the Daystar media company. He even said he would never be on Daystar again if she married Doug Weiss. Rodney's dislike didn't end there. He said he saw in a vision that the marriage would be bad and told Joanie straight out. But Joanie decided to go ahead with the wedding anyway, even though he told her not to. Roger told Jimmy that Doug was in January after Marcus died in November. Really, no one in the body of Christ trusts him, except maybe Jonathan Shellworth. But I swear everyone has told me to stay away from Rodney. Anyway, he talks too much and says things he shouldn't. It's so rude for him to talk to you. He should have called me if he was having trouble with anything. He knows my phone number and should have called me to talk instead of talking to my kids without telling me. That's all there is to it. It's not your fault. James replied, "Rodney, that's not true." Then Rodney called and you told him, "No, the Lord told me what to do with Rodney, so I got up and did it." Does that mean I, God bless him, do his thing? I know what I'm going to do with him now. Roger Rodney was someone Marcus had to deal with before. To be clear, though, there are things you don't know. Oh no. To be clear, Rodney has said and done things that made your dad very angry. Certainly. To be clear, though, I know he loves you. Roger gave her a, "Hey, We do not need a young GI. It doesn't matter now that my dad gave them $100,000. He loves her then. He's not trying to do this like, oh no, he was really worried. He said he would share it. I told Rodney things about myself because Rodney told me, and were you and Joe on the phone, he said that 3 nights in a row he woke up in a cupboard, sweating and scared. He had dreams about Joni and Daystar being destroyed. He couldn't even say what it was because it was so dark and he was so drunk he did not wish to say the words aloud. What he said to me at that point really scared me. Why wouldn't he tell her that? He told you that he tried to talk to you. I believe it was when you were in New York, right? He told me on social media that he DM'd me to ask where Doug and I were on his birthday, and we were. Steve was there for Daystar business. I wrote him a letter and asked, why the teardrop on the direct message with the picture of Doug and me? Because I'm sad, he replied. Why are you sad? I asked. He replied, because of this picture. I replied, well, I'll be glad to talk to you about it. That was the first time I knew anything at all. Who called him, do you know? Because he wasn't brave enough to call me, I did. A lot of men in God don't have the guts to call me and talk about it, so I'll say that word a lot. I agreed with everything Don said, so he put me on the phone with him. We talked back and forth, and finally he just wanted to hang up. Then Jimmy called or wanted to talk to him, and of course he was very different. Like with Jimmy, but Jimmy talked to him and everything, and that was the last thing I heard. Rodney and I wiped our feet. Okay, so this is the second time I've dealt with this man. He's a good man, a godly man, but he lacks knowledge in many areas, and that's one of them. Now, what did Joanie say in response to the criticism? She certainly didn't hold back. Rodney Howard-Browne was one person she spoke badly about. Joanie says that he gave her a nice gift of $100,000 in the past, but she used that money to help pay for her wedding, which many people thought was wrong because Rodney was against it. Rodney's warnings and kindness aside, Joanie didn't care about his worries and thought his actions were pointless. This conflict showed a bigger split not only between Joanie and Rodney, but also in the Christian community as a whole. There was more trouble to come. A message from Denise Bogg, who was friendly with the Lamb family, came to light. In her message to Jan's kids, Denise said that Joanie was being lied to and that Doug Weiss was using her. Doug had an edge because he had been a marriage and relationship counselor before. This made it seem like he might be using his skills to win Joanie over when she was at her weakest. Some people also pointed out the irony. If Doug couldn't save his own 30-year marriage, then how could anyone trust him in this new one? What does all of this mean for Daystar TV network again? Rodney's bold claim that the marriage could cause Daystar to fail has made many people worry about the future of the network. Daystar has been an important part of Christian broadcasting for many years, but this issue has made people wonder about its leadership and direction while Joanie is in charge. What will happen to the platform during the storm? Will this marriage really have long-term effects, as some people have said? Time will tell. Think about what you think about this. Were ministers like Rodney Howard-Browne right to be against Joanie Lamb's choice? Or was it hers alone with no one else's input? Write your answer in the box below. Thanks for watching the show on our channel today. Make sure you like, follow, and click the bell to make sure you never miss an update. Also, stay blessed as always.